Hey everybody, it's Dynamite Show. Paul Fontaine alongside Jeff Hawkins here on Fight Game Media. We're live on the YouTube channel for those watching, and for those listening on the Fight Game Media audio network. Good morning, or whenever you're listening to this. And Jeff, we got a show to talk about here.
Yes.
I before watching Dynamite, I actually watched a 3 hour, although, well, when I skipped through the entrances, they didn't take me 3 hours to watch it, but probably 2 hours and 20 minutes. I watched like an AEW show before Dynamite.
Like a current one or a
Yeah. It was from like February 3rd, I think, or 4th. It was, I don't know. I just had nothing to do. So I threw that on Triller Plus. And yeah, it was nobody on it, like just a random show. But it kind of made Dynamite look better, I will say. So, I mean, and not that show was bad or anything, but, just like production wise and everything and the work and all that. But it was interesting seeing some up and comers and some people that, there was no super big names on the show, but there's a couple guys I would say keep an eye on. You'll probably maybe see them on ROH or maybe even bring in for AEW to do a match like young Barrett Brown did tonight. Like Sam
they might
Holloway.
bring him in for PWG at some point too. So.
Yes. Sam Holloway is a guy who's looks like he's about 6'4", 260, in good shape, and he looks like a good worker. There's another guy named Tyler Jordan who's in the main event, who's 21, apparently an NCAA athlete. So I'm amazed WWE didn't sign him yet. But those are the two guys that I was kind of watching. And it was kind of fun to watch for something different. But we got our AEW. I'm trying to think. I'm kind of riffing here because I'm trying to think if there's any big news this week.
Well, there were two hirings if you want to put that in there.
Oh, well, they hired QT Marshall back.
Yes.
Yeah, that was interesting, especially after when he was leaving. Do you remember the backstage stuff coming out about how everyone hated him, and he was, he was bad for the product, and now that he's gone, it's going to be more sports orientated and all this stuff, and now he's back and he's an EVP.
Yeah, but I think he's in he's not. He doesn't have Tony's ear. This is going to be like a. Oddly enough, it may be worse for the people who trashed him. He might be something like vice president of talent relations or something.
Oh, so like doing what I thought Danielson was doing?
I don't know what he's going to be doing. I don't, but me and a buddy were talking about this today. I feel bad for him because it's one of those stories where he wanted to bet on himself and he couldn't get booked anywhere.
No, which surprised me. Like I thought for sure Mexico would be interested.
I thought AAA or somebody would bring him in, or
WWE would bring him in for NXT.
I wasn't that sure about WWE. I know I had heard rumblings that he put out a feeler if he could come down there and train or something to that effect. But I don't know anything specific. But he had got enough time in the ring and stuff like that where he wanted to perform instead of teach, and I respect that as a guy who wanted to perform and had to teach. So
and he got himself in great shape.
I actually like his sensibilities a little bit more than other people because he seems more like a Southern wrestling type of guy to me. In terms of his angles. His
kind of like a Memphis guy.
A Memphis guy. Actually, that's bang on right there. I think his because he likes some of the goofy. Let's face it, he does like the goofy. But he has his angles that he was in before QTV were always kind of developing and they had structure to them. He was a Cody guy, so it was one of those things where I always kind of liked QT Marshall, to be honest with you. So
I wouldn't mind if they gave him ROH, like to just
that wouldn't be the worst thing either. He goes down with the kids because I think he still trains at the Nightmare Academy. I don't know if that's true or not, but if he does, ROH would be a good thing for him.
Yeah,
and it's one of those things where I actually think Tony feels bad about how QT went from being, his consigliere at times for television and the rundowns and, the formats and things like that to, he goes on vacation and he gets Wally pipped.
Yeah. Like all of a sudden it's, Jimmy Jacobs and Pat Buck and, and then there's other guys, Danielson, and I mean, they got a lot of EVPs or just people.
They got a lot of cooks back there is what they have. And I
Yeah,
don't know if
only one chef.
yeah. And they have a lot of sous chefs back there.
Yeah. Like because they also announced Rocky Romero is has they didn't say his title, but he's got a
head stooge for NJPW talent.
I don't know. How did they word it? He's got an executive position, I think is what they said.
Yes.
Which I mean, yeah, there's Daniels is another one that's an executive vice president. I think Sanjay. Like they got a lot of EVPs, and some of them I don't know what they do.
They got a lot of guys who have been to the base of the mountain.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only way I can put this, and this is no offense to any of those guys because they're talented and stuff. It's just one of those things where it's like we wonder. I mean, we always laugh at because we can almost point out the Chris Jericho influence at times.
Yeah.
But Jericho is really the one guy still remaining back there that has been in a hot national company.
Yeah, because Danielson and Mox were on top. It wasn't quite as. I mean, Danielson was.
Arn is kind of there, but I don't know how Arn is there anymore.
I don't even know if I think he might not be there. I could be wrong.
I think he might not be there either. I haven't heard that there was an official.
No, I think Brock's contract ran out, and I think Arn's gone too. I could be wrong about that. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong. But
there's never any official announcement to thank him.
Yeah, well, sometimes people just notice, right? Like they go look on the roster page and someone's gone. And it's like, oh,
or they like to fire people on Friday. That way they have the weekend to cool off.
Yeah, Anthony Ogogo still has a job. That's what I know.
He got re-signed recently.
Yeah, well, good work if you can get it, I guess.
That one baffled me.
Paige Van Zandt is still on the roster. I mean, like
look, that one's gonna come to fruition as soon as they get Dan.
Dan Lambert. Yeah.
Dan Lambert back.
Hey, he was a good pickup.
I liked him.
Entertaining TV. Yeah,
I don't know what anybody else was complaining about. Dan Lambert was one of the most interesting things about AEW at that time.
But it's interesting that Rocky signs and the rumors are that, Okada's coming in as well now. And, and that, I mean, that's not a coincidence. That, he gets a front office job at the same time as Okada signs. It's like, it's maybe a perk. It's like
I'll be interested if New Japan brings him back.
Rocky?
Yes.
Well, he's there right now.
Yes, I know.
He's on the Fantastic Mania tour.
I mean, anytime that there's there has to be something. There has to be like a gentleman's agreement there.
Well, kind of like, I mean, from a distance and not knowing a lot of it kind of reads like the Rossi Ogawa situation.
Yes, it does. Very much so. I think that's a very good parallel.
Yeah,
and I think it's going to end up the same too.
Except he's got a cushy job with AEW now, so good for Rocky, and he's getting paid by CMLL. And
I mean, we're thinking one way to the other, but what if it's the other way? What if Rocky is actually the guy to help smooth relationships for the guys who are leaving New Japan to come back at some times to do that? He's kind of the eyes and ears of New Japan, watching, the guys that are important to them that they want to bring back as attractions occasionally. He's kind of their liaison, as opposed to the other way where we think he's poaching from New Japan, which I don't think he is, but
Well, no, like these guys are going to leave. You know what this reminds me of, and it hit me this week. New Japan is like ECW in the late 90s, where guys are making a name for themselves there, and then they're going to one of the big two companies, and they don't really want to leave, but they can't not leave because the money's just too good.
Right.
So they leave, and it's like Okada. I saw his last match with Tanahashi, and he's in tears and he's kissing the logo in the ring, and it just totally reminded me of when a guy would leave ECW. Except the fans would chant "You sold out" at him, and they didn't chant that at Okada. But an Ospreay, cuts this crying promo that I promise you I'll be back someday and all this, and and it's like these are guys they're like graduating. It reminded me of Malenko leaving for WCW and Rey Mysterio leaving, and
but none of those were on nearly good terms because that was about Todd Gordon taking people and being the leader.
Well, but Paul was working both sides and getting guys jobs, and so it was different, but it kind of just feels the same. Like, and then you got these ECW/NJPW fans that are like, well, I guess we got what's left. And now we're going to have a year of Tommy Dreamer and Stevie Richards on top, and, Sudden Impact and, Rhino, like, whoever doesn't leave.
Chris Chetty? All right. I'm here for this.
Danny Doring and Roadkill. It's like, I watched all that stuff.
Oh, that's wireless. Oh, good. Another, and then eventually he'll strike a deal with another smaller company, and he'll bring in, we'll have Hayabusa for a match.
Taz's cousin. Oh yeah, that was Chris Chetty. You mentioned him.
That was Chris Chetty. Yeah.
The Extreme Rookie. Oh, Super Crazy. Remember him?
Super Crazy.
He was the Extreme Rookie for like 5 years.
Bring back Donnie Allen for a hit. Sure.
Well, that was a little bit earlier.
No, it's much earlier. I get that.
Mikey Whipwreck, Sandman. He would leave and come back.
Whipwreck is the perfect. Public Enemy will come in after getting fired for the 100th time.
Sandman is like the Good Brothers. They're just they leave and they come back, and they leave and they come back. And it's like,
hey man, I just want to drink and do my match. All right.
Yeah. But so another interesting week as we get ready for Revolution, and they did tonight's show. I thought they did a pretty good job building for Revolution. But man, like I was putting together, and if you saw the lineup, like if you read the intro, as you're getting ready to come watch us do this show, and I had to put together the lineup. What a weird lineup. And as the show played out, it was just as weird as it read like it was going to be.
There were things that happened on this show that maybe, when a dog looks at you wearing a huh?
Yeah.
I did that a couple times at the TV.
It's not that it's bad. It's just like,
it's just weird. Weird was the word for it.
I made this point last week, like the chaos, and it was good chaos. This wasn't like, I don't think this show was quite as good as last week. It wasn't a bad show, I didn't think. And it did a good job of building to Revolution, which is definitely important. That show like is shaping up to be a pretty good show. But then again, like as I say that, there was one match that could be huge, or could have been huge, I would say. And they just kind of announced it, like no build, no nothing, and like, no reason. And we were talking
no
in the
sense
Discord
about it too.
No, we were talking in the Discord today, and spoiler alert, I'm talking about Takeshita and Ospreay, because word came out. I think Dave mentioned on Wrestling Observer, and then Sean reported it after he listened to the Observer. He sold the info for $5. That Ospreay is going to be wrestling at Revolution. So then we were all speculating today in the Discord, who's the opponent going to be? And I'm like, well, my thought was Sammy Guevara. I thought, like they just reintroduced him. He just did a promo. He's a guy that can lose, that'll have a great match with Ospreay. Ospreay can get a win, and it'll just, kind of put him on the right track. And our friend John Muse said, I don't have nobody's told me anything or anything, but I feel like it might be Takeshita. And I'm like, interesting. I said, it's not a match I would do. They're both stable mates.
Somebody told John.
Could be.
Come on, John, give it up. Who'd you talk to?
Takeshita's on a winning streak. He just entered the rankings. I thought they were building him up. Maybe he's going to get a TV title, like
I need to explain that joke for a moment, though, Paul. Let me interrupt, because that's how I always phrase it when I don't have any sources, but maybe it's this guy. And it's always because somebody told me that.
Yeah. And it's possible. John and I talked to some of the same people. I hadn't heard it, but he seemed pretty confident that that's what it was going to be. But I was like, well, I mean, Takeshita's on a winning streak. Like, he's won 8 in a row, and he just entered the rankings. And I thought, well, you know what? They might be setting him up for a shot at Joe or whoever comes out of Revolution as the champion, maybe on, one of the big TV shows that they got coming up after, maybe at Big Business. And then, but no, it's, and then he's like, well, no, I just think it'll be a good match, blah, blah, blah. And, there's a story they could tell. And, John always had some good booking ideas, and he had one for this. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's definitely not what they did. I came up, I thought Daniel Garcia might be a good opponent for Ospreay. Thing is, you don't want to beat Ospreay in his first match, and I really don't think you want to beat Konosuke Takeshita right now. But I mean, unless they're going to do a draw, which I suppose is possible, they're going to beat one of these guys, and I'm not exactly sure why they made the match, but they did.
I think I'll have an explanation when we get to it.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll get to that. But we started out with a match that was announced. I think it was announced earlier today.
I think that's the
first time
actually.
I saw it.
It was
maybe
yesterday.
Okay. Jon Moxley.
I had somebody who was going to go to the show originally, and then they decided not to
because of this match.
No. They just decided that it was too much trouble to go out to.
Our friend Brian Zalim, who subs for you on Thanksgiving every year, or the last 2 years, anyways. I don't know if I'm gonna. Maybe I'll ask him again this year. Who knows? It's a long way.
I might do it this year. Who knows?
Yeah, but he was there live because he lives in Austin. Yeah, and they always get good shows in Austin, or at least he tells me they are. I'm just kidding. This was a good show. But Jon Moxley and Dax Harwood. And this was a weird match. I mean, it was a good match, but I think the first 13 minutes of this match, I don't think they did anything but chop each other. Like, did you see anything other than chops?
Kissing.
Oh yeah. Dax kissed him because Mox went up to him with his hand behind his back, and then then Dax kissed him, and then he chopped him, and then he chopped him some more. And
it was weird in that I never thought they upped the intensity of the match. They were doing a match, and they were doing a match, and they were doing moves, and they do reversals, and they do moves, but it never felt heated. It never felt like it amped it up, like it became a fight. Like if you were gonna take a 80s corollary, take Dax and go make him Arn Anderson against somebody who's an equally skilled brawler or something.
You know what this reminded me of? You remember that Arn Anderson Steven Regal TV title match?
Actually, that's not a bad comparison.
It was like 20 minutes of nothing.
That was what this was, pretty much. I liked it. I didn't dislike it. I didn't like it though either. I just kind of watched and went, all right, when is this going to start? When is somebody going to work on a body part or something? That's what I was waiting for, and I never got it.
I'm not going to lie. I liked it. They threw so many chops that I think Dax busted open his hand.
Yes.
From throwing chops. And
I didn't hate it. I just didn't love it. That's all.
They did one spot where Mox is on the top rope and Dax is trying to do a superplex. Yes. And Mox is chopping him to try to get him off. And Dax is trying to hold on. And he's grabbing the ropes and he's holding on. And the fans are totally into this. And then finally Mox knocks him off the ropes. And he's on the ground. And then Mox just sits there. And he sits there. And he sits there. And eventually, Dax just climbs back up on the ropes and gives him a superplex. I'm like, what the hell was that? But the crowd loved it, so I don't know. And then, out of nowhere, all of a sudden, we hear 15 minutes gone, 5 minutes left in this match. I've never heard that other than the C2. And it was like, wow, okay, maybe they're doing a draw. And then, he did a 4-minute, and then a 3-minute, and then a 2-minute. And then right around the 2-minute mark, Dax hit a pile driver. Mox kicked out. And he goes, this is awesome. And then they go outside the ring, and Dax is chopping him. And then Dax goes to get back in the ring. Mox kicks the ropes. So he crotched him. He cheated. And then he hit him with a cutter, and he stomped him. And then he got a pile driver. And then Dax kicked out. And I thought that was a finish, actually. And then Mox puts on a sleeper. And I think they did the 1-minute call, and then Dax is fighting it off, and then finally he just passes out, and the ref stops it with I think under a minute left. And once that 5-minute count came, it kind of turned into more of a match, but it was just weird. And then after the match, Claudio attacked him, or no, Cash attacked Mox to break up because Mox wasn't going to let the sleeper go. And then Claudio made the save, and the crowd was going nuts. Mox flipped off the crowd, and that made them chant BCC. And then he choked out Dax again. And I didn't even realize the reason they did this post-match beatdown was so that FTR wouldn't be around later. I didn't even remember it. But
no, I noticed that on your Twitter. But everything from the end of this match to the post-match was weird for me. And let me explain why. They have really started doing this thing with endings of matches where I'm gonna power. No, tap out.
Yeah. And then every once in a while they just do the 3. Yeah, like
I'm kind of. I mean, it's fine that you're gonna do those types of things, but it's just, it's almost like you're sitting there trying to plan things, and it's meta commentary on wrestling and stuff. Like, man, I hate when people do the Hogan. Oh, I'm gonna hold my hand up during the sleeper thing. Okay, fine, boom, you're out. BCC being presented as heels after 2 weeks of, oh, the invaders from CMLL are in here. They're fighting for AEW. What?
Well, they were doing that
last week. They don't know what
they're
doing with the BCC. Because they want them to be Stone Cold Steve Austin, all of them. And it's just not working for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was weird. And the fans don't know how to react.
I like shades of gray. They're coloring both black and white at the same time with these guys. This isn't gray at all. They're either baby faces one week and they're heels the next.
FTR is definitely baby faces though.
Yes. FTR are baby faces because they've been going with Daniel Garcia for a while. That's fine. I got that part. It's the BCC part I'm not getting. All because they're narrating them as protectors of AEW, and they're the interlopers going down to CMLL to teach those luchadors what's what. And here they are holding, and they like, and so look, if you bleed with them, you get their respect. And there's Dax bleeding with him, and Moxley is just being a jerk to the guy after the match. It also goes against their entire continuity of what they've been saying the whole time. Moxley should be respecting Dax for beating the crap out of him for a while, because that's what he's always wanted. It's just one of those things where it's like it's not even spinning a wheel; it's flipping a coin each week, and whatever it lands on, they're gonna go hard heel or hard baby face. There's no nuance to it at all. It's just, this week your heels, this week your baby faces. Maybe you'll have 2 heels in there. Maybe you'll have 2 baby faces in there. Who knows?
They brought up during this match, you mentioned CMLL, and they brought up an 8-man tag that was just announced March 29th. It's a long way away in Mexico City, Friday night, Arena Mexico show. It's the BCC against, I didn't write it down, but I know Ultimate Guerrero,
Volador, Mystico,
maybe Hysterico. Is it probably? Or,
probably.
Yeah, probably those. Yeah, so 4-on-4, but they're going to be pushing this for a while. And
Hechicero, is that how you say it?
Hechicero, I think.
Hechicero.
Yeah. Now the only way to watch
that's a southern cousin from down south.
Yeah. The only way to watch that, I believe, you have to subscribe to the CMLL YouTube channel, which I think is like $20 a month. Like, it's not cheap.
Happening.
Yeah, no, for one match. But I mean, you get all the matches, but
that's nice.
Dave talked about
Dave will enjoy it.
Yeah.
Dave will tell me about whether or not to get it or not.
Yeah, he'll tell me to get it and I won't. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'll be a fun match. Danielson's wanted to wrestle in Arena Mexico for a long time, so I was surprised Danielson wasn't there tonight. I know he wrestled in Japan on the weekend, so maybe they gave him the week off.
Hey, that's Arena Mexico in the end of March. I might be able to do that.
Really?
I live in LA. I can take a drive down.
Yeah, it's definitely Danielson's dream. Oh, you know who's in there? It's not Hechicero, it's Blue Panther.
Panther, Jason
mentioned it, and I just thought of it before I saw him post it. Poor Dax can't beat anyone.
Well, no, but see, but I don't mind that. I don't mind
the tag team guy.
He's a tag team specialist wrestling singles. I don't mind that. I think that's the way it should be at times.
I'm way more interested in the match next week than I was in this week's match, because I think that's a match that FTR could actually win. Yeah, I'm not sure if they will, but they could.
They should, maybe. I don't know.
Well, unless Mox and Claudio are going to be the next tag champs, which is possible, because they're in the rankings. I think they're number 2. They've got like 2 or 3 wins already this year, and so I think whoever wins next week, that could be the whoever's going to win the titles after they get vacated at Revolution. Which actually we had some discuss. Well, I'll wait till we get to the Buck segment to talk about this. So then we went backstage to Remarkable Renee, and she looked remarkable tonight. She had I don't know why I always do this, but I always write down her outfits. She had a really low cut black top and white shorts. And that's all I'll say about that.
People on this network are friends with her husband.
What was that?
You know, people on this network are friends with her husband.
I do.
Okay.
I'm not saying anything.
You're caveat emptor, my friend.
Oh, I just mentioned what she was
I'm
wearing.
just warning you. Just warning you.
I just mentioned what she was wearing. That's all.
Okay.
No commentary.
Okay.
So she's with Hobbs, Takeshita, and Callis. And she asked what's next for them. And Callis says, we're a victim of our own success, and no one wants this man. And he points to Takeshita. No one wants this man, Powerhouse Hobbs. So he says, but we need Takeshita on this pay-per-view. He's a star. So I couldn't wait for anyone else. I had to look within my own family. And then, okay, well, he's putting these two against each other. And he's like, nope. We're going to put together a match that will have the world talking. 2 Callis family members against each other. Takeshita versus Will Ospreay. And it's going to be the match of the century and blah, 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 blah. And Takeshita, I don't know if he understood what he said. He didn't react at all. Hobbs didn't react at all. I noticed.
Hobbs kind of gave it like a little eye roll, like, all right.
Yeah, like I thought I was wrestling, but okay. Takeshita and Will Ospreay and on no build and no reason. And last time we saw them all together, Will was part of Team Callis, and I guess he still is, according to Don. Although, how many times have we seen Don say someone?
I'm thinking we are now going to substitute Kenny Omega for Will Ospreay.
Yes.
I think Will Ospreay is about to get turned on by Don Callis, and I think he's going to be the de facto Kenny in this entire angle, and he's going to.
I wish they would just drop it because I'm sick of Jericho, but I think you're probably right.
And I think it's gonna. Well, it makes me wonder what they then do, because I think.
Well, because eventually you want to do Omega Ospreay
Kyle
again.
Well, then what do you do with Kyle Fletcher? Because it's one of those things where he's aligned with Ospreay and the Aussie Open.
Yeah, they're in. Well, see, Fletcher isn't with New Japan anymore, so he may have left United Empire.
Right, but I think this is an easy solve. I think Callis comes out and goes, "You haven't been around.
Yeah,
you're not part of the family anymore, really. You know, you do that like the week before."
I think it's gonna be more the other way. Is going to be Ospreay's going to come in and say, "Listen, like I had a temporary alliance with you because I wanted to wrestle Jericho, but I'm not part of your family. And if you think
I'm friends with Kenny, I respect Kenny Omega.
Yeah,
something
like that. And I respect Chris Jericho. You know, I wrestled him. We beat the crap out of each other in Wembley, and at the end of it, we shook hands. And maybe I can't remember if they did it or not.
We'll see. We'll see if Ospreay can carry the baby.
Yeah, Jericho will end up teaming with Ospreay. Well, yeah, by end up, I mean it'll probably be like right away. And yeah, I agree with the emoji. Not looking forward to that. But because I
think Ospreay plays a good heel. I just don't know how good of a babyface promo he can be.
He can be a great babyface promo. I've seen it. But Jeff's distracted.
No, something just fell. I was like, all right, whatever.
but I think Ospreay's going to be a babyface because I mean, for me, like the money is him going for the title at Wembley. Now you don't have to do it this year, although they could. But I think going into Wembley, he's got to be a babyface.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be a babyface coming out of this and maybe even going into it. Like I don't know when we'll see him. Probably next week. There's only 2.5 weeks until Revolution now, so. It's got to come soon. I wouldn't have Ospreay wrestle before Revolution. I would have that be his first match, but who knows?
I gotta be kind of honest. I would have put this on the Boston show.
Well, my idea was
and try and sell out that TD Arena.
Well, my idea was you announce Okada at Revolution. You announce that he signed, and his first match is going to be against Will Ospreay at Big Business in Boston. That's what I would have done.
But isn't Big Business just the next week? That next Friday, next Wednesday?
No, it's a week and a half later.
Okay, you got some time to build a little bit, but I mean,
it's you get your last hardcores that want to see an Okada Ospreay match.
But that's a travel thing. I mean, that's one of those things where people might have traveled for it. I think so. I mean, people in the Northeast. I mean, not necessarily cross country or around.
They did that match in San Jose, and nobody traveled to it, and they announced it like a month ahead of time.
Oh, it was New Japan.
Yeah, well, I guess it makes a difference. You're right. It does make a difference.
New Japan of America, which always kind of does things a little half-assed.
New Japan USA.
Yeah.
Next, we got Wardlow versus someone. Didn't get an intro. They eventually mentioned his name was Barrett Brown.
He got an intro.
Did he? Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
must have skipped it. Okay.
You were fast forwarding through the entrances.
Yeah, I was.
He didn't get an entrance. He got the currently in the ring.
Oh yeah, already in the ring. His opponent. Yeah, okay. But it was Barrett Brown.
Yes.
And I think he's already been squashed by Wardlow before.
I believe
I recognize
so.
the name, but
yeah.
Anyways,
either he was squashed by him or he was squashed in WWE. I can't remember which, but he was squashed before.
Oh, if it wasn't him, it was Powerhouse Hobbs.
Actually, I'll try and look it up. Let's see.
Yeah, but the match wasn't anything. He did that cool move he does where the guy's on the top of the ropes and he hits him with the knee on the way down. Then he did a power bomb where he did kept him in the air for like 20 seconds before he dropped him, and that was it. Adam Cole was on commentary. He said nothing, literally.
Good. And best commentary he's ever done.
And then when the match was over, he said, "Pleasure chatting with you guys," and that was it. That was all he said.
Wonder if his mic even worked.
And then he didn't do anything. No, I don't think. I think that was the whole point, was that he wasn't going to say anything.
Oh no, he's been killed by Lance Archer, Josh Woods, and the Butcher in AEW.
Okay, there we go. All right, I knew I'd seen him before. Probably the Lance Archer one was the one.
Dynamite in October.
Yeah, one of those deals where he dragged him from the backstage area.
Yeah, threw him down the ramp.
So this was
probably in Dallas.
Not even sure why they did this, other than probably just so Wardlow could prove that he wasn't lying when he said his knee wasn't hurt.
Wearing a brace and very heavily taped, so that was interesting. I mean, it's at least a little unstable, so they're worried about it, but just to keep the monster in everybody's mind.
Yeah, and he can. Yeah, and he's eventually. I mean, I think he's probably 4-0 now. I mean,
although it made no sense he was here and then didn't come out later during the whole Orange Cassidy debacle.
Oh, we'll get to that. I mean,
continue
that match.
Continue.
Earlier today, the Bucks arrived in a private jet. They get off the jet, and Matt asked Matthew. I don't want to get fined. Matthew asked Nicholas, "Are you ready to work?" And I don't know if he answered him. And then they left their private jet and they got into a limo. Now they have soul patches instead of goatees, and they're wearing the white suits that they were wearing when they attacked Sting last week, and they're still covered in Darby's blood, which they wrestled on Rampage. I don't know if you saw it, but the suit, I mean, the blood was bright red still, like it was right after the attack. So and Nick wrestled the whole match with his hat on on Rampage, and it was they beat a couple jobbers, and then this week they beat a couple more jobbers.
Wow.
But yeah, we'll get to that. No, we'll get to it. But yeah, this is cute, I guess.
Taz noting that the plane had Wi-Fi made me laugh for some reason. I don't know why.
How did he know?
Because it probably had the symbol inside the plane that he saw. God bless Taz. I loved corporate simp Taz.
Yeah.
During this time.
For
all my complaints about him over the weeks,
well, he's mad because didn't he suggested this was during the match.
He suggested he had been fined at one time, I believe.
No, because he suggested a new name for Matthew and Nicholas. He said, "You should call yourselves the EVP Bucks."
That was so terrible. That was so terrible.
I got fined $2,500 just for suggesting it.
As well, he should have.
Which is $1,500 more than Tony got fined for slamming them on commentary.
Well, look, that name was so bad he should have been fined more.
But there's no rhyme or reason to these guys.
Well, they're heels.
The tag match, Cryon called them Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, not the Young Bucks. Yeah, but it did say Young Bucks on the Contron.
On the small screens, not the big ones. So they're just reminding you.
They're slowly transitioning, I guess.
Yes,
they'll always be the Young Bucks.
Transitioning. Okay.
Yeah, they'll always be the Young Bucks to me. Oh well, they still have the Vince mustaches on the Cryon too. You notice that?
They're quickly becoming Generation Me. Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh good. Oh, what were their names? Jeremy and Max. Yeah. Right.
Sure.
Max and Jeremy Jackson.
I'm not a TNA
Max and Jeremy
historian.
Buck. Max and Jeremy Buck. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm a TNA historian too. All right. Next we got to. Oh my God. Okay. So Adam Copeland and Daniel Garcia.
Wait, are we just? Did you already go through the match? Is that what you decided to do here?
No, the match didn't happen yet.
Oh, okay.
Later, yeah.
I thought they regularly went from the plane and then started the match.
No. So No, they arrived from later. They arrived in the limo and they go right to the match.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. So Adam Copeland and Daniel Garcia. Now, I was first alerted to this match. Someone posted something in a Facebook group. Actually, it was Brian, our guy I mentioned earlier. And he's all excited, I guess, because he's going to be there and he's going to get to see this match. And when I saw this match, I was not excited. I was like, okay, like Adam Copeland is going to beat somebody else. And, Daniel Garcia, I'm like, why is he wrestling for a TNT title shot? Like he hasn't had any wins. I guess he got one on Collision, which I hadn't seen yet. He beat, I don't remember who he beat, but it was somebody who he was going to beat, like it was, somebody lower than him. And then he comes out and he challenges Copeland and he says, like, I know about the rankings. I got to work my way up. You're number 3. So if I beat you, I deserve a title shot, blah, blah, blah. It's like, whatever. It's the same old shit. You want to call this a match for a TNT title shot? Garcia's been winning a lot lately. He's on these 6-man teams that are winning. Fine. I'm cool with that. You don't need rankings. So anyways, it's Adam Copeland and he's going to beat another young guy. And they have this match. Matt Menard's on commentary. Excalibur called him the Quebecois Alex Abrahantes. Taz asked him, are you his personal hype man? And Matt's like, yeah, kind of. And so they start, and they were wrestling a really fast pace early. And the fans are chanting, let's go Adam, let's go Danny. And slowly they started to turn more towards Garcia. And I think it happened when he had Copeland's legs tied up, and he did his dance on Copeland's body. And the fans loved that. And then right after that, Copeland got out and he did a shoulder breaker and tossed him into the turnbuckles. And then he got some boos. And not only that, we're 5 minutes in. This is right before the commercial, and he's sucking wind. Like they were starting at a fast pace, and it was too fast for him. So they come back from the break, and the crowd's dead. And usually that's a sign that the match is kind of not great. And but as Garcia, and because they were dead because Copeland was on the offense, but every time Garcia got on the offense, they would get behind him, or when he was doing his babyface comeback. So he's working over the leg. He did a dragon screw leg whip off the top rope onto Copeland. He did another one on the mat later. And Excalibur did a good job. He pointed out, this is to set up the Dragon Tamer. And Garcia eventually got him into an STF. They got to their feet, trading elbows. The Edge goes to the top. He gives him an avalanche impaler. He landed on his shoulder. He looked to the crowd to fire up, and the crowd boos. And then he goes to set up a spear, and he goes for the spear. And I thought, okay, this is the finish right here. And Garcia got a boot up, and then he jackknife pinned him, and Edge kicked out. And then Edge goes into the STF, and I thought, okay, here's the pin, and it's going to be over. And young Nick Wayne shows up, and he interferes for the DQ, or so I thought. The announcers were very clear to point out over and over and over again, this is not a DQ. This was a no contest. So Garcia did not win. I don't know why. I guess Edge was just not going to put this guy over because, that's a DQ. Like, I'm sorry. But
I actually thought they might have been setting up a 3-way, but the problem with that is I think they put out Edge so he wouldn't have to be in Greensboro. Even though he's a North Carolina guy, I don't know the sense of that necessarily. Maybe
so it could be Garcia acting Greensboro, and then just look to make sure. And Cage Match has his no contest as well.
Copeland.
I don't know why that wasn't a no DQ though, or why that wasn't a DQ. Like
because they're not being narratively consistent, and they needed it somehow.
Yeah, Twan Mack points out he's seen that finish in AEW a bunch. I'm not sure a bunch. They don't do a lot of these kind of finishes.
Like if they had like the way to do the no contest is you have both guys come out at. I think maybe the timing was off a little bit, and Luchasaurus was a little bit behind. I think you need to attack both guys at once, and then it becomes a no contest because the first guy you hit should be the DQ type of thing.
Well, and especially in this case where like it's very clear. Like he's not.
It just seems weird to me because everything to me screamed that they were going to set this up for a 3-way, which I think we have way too many trios matches on this Greensboro card to begin with.
Well, it's funny because Garrett in our Discord made that joke. He's like, "Oh, maybe Garcia will, maybe they'll do a double DQ or something, and it'll be a 3-way, and we can have just all 3-ways on this show." And he was laughing like. Maybe somebody told him.
But that's always his out. That's always Tony's out is to do a 3-way, do a multi-man. So, but Edge not being on a card in North Carolina when he lives in North Carolina is kind of weird.
But this, I mean, it sure looked like a write-off. I can't.
It looked like a write-off to me too.
But then again, they did this once before, and he was back. Like it was right before the last pay-per-view, actually. And I thought,
how many weeks do we have? 3,
2.5,
2.5. That's a quick recovery from a concerto, but they do this now. They never milk it for oh man, he has been put out for 6 months or something like that. You know.
If they were just going to do the Garcia match, you would have just said it was a DQ and Garcia wins, and then that's how he gets the match with Christian.
Yeah, and then Copeland's upset.
Yeah, and then maybe Copeland gets added to the match later, or he gets him after Greensboro.
Yeah,
but it was just a weird. Like I didn't like the finish at all. Edge heals faster in AEW. Oh, heals as in he means like recovers. Not.
Yeah,
he's also healing pretty fast too because the fans think he's a heel now.
No, there's WWE healing powers going on. Always have been.
Yeah. But the fans were starting to turn on him in this match. I don't know if it's turning on him or they just really like Garcia. Probably the latter. I don't think they dislike Edge. I think they just really are getting into Garcia.
Boy, you know what else I'm thinking though?
Maybe
I'm thinking no. I'm thinking this becomes Christian versus Garcia in Greensboro.
Oh, and then Edge.
And Edge comes out to make the save, but he turns on Garcia.
Oh, man.
Oh, Christian, you knocked some sense into me with that concerto. I've been wrong this entire time. Those fans, they were booing me while I was in the Garcia match.
Oh, I should point out the post-match. So Nick Wayne and Killswitch are double teaming Garcia. Christian wandered out and pulled out 2 chairs from under the ring, but Menard stopped him.
Sweet ass time.
He
stick up his ass. That's what I love about him.
Yeah, and while the attack's going on, and Menard went to stop him, but Killswitch closed on him from behind. Christian rolls into the ring with 2 chairs. I wrote down where's FTR, and I made the mistake of tweeting that, and then I was reminded that they were laid out earlier in the show. But Adam Copeland made the save with a chair, and Christian was cowering in the corner, and he's about to get hit, but Mother Wayne low-blowed Edge. And now we got a 3-on-1 beatdown on Edge, and Nick Wayne hit Wayne's World on him. Killswitch just clobbered him with a clothesline to the neck.
Whew.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Between that one and the one to Daddy Magic, that was something. Yeah.
Fans are chanting "Fuck you, Christian," but quickly switched it to a more PG chant of "Christian sucks." And Edge gave him a concerto, set it up forever. I noticed that Wayne had a shirt that's probably not going to sell too many copies, or I don't know, maybe it will. But it said "Christian is my father." Yeah,
I laughed.
Yeah, maybe this means Christian versus Garcia at the pay-per-view. I pointed. Christian posed with the belt, and he had his boot on Edge. Then he kicked the dirt on the body like, who was it that used to do that? Tito Ortiz? No, he did the shoveling.
He did the shovel.
It was somebody else that would do the kicking the dirt on the body kind of thing when they walked away.
I remember that. Yeah, it was. Yeah. He'd turn around and kind of do the chicken thing with the feet. Yeah.
Shabani said that no one's coming out to save Edge because they're petrified of this crew. And they left, and Garcia eventually shows up in the ring and was hanging over Edge. So at the very way this closed, it felt like it might be a 3-way, which I'm hoping it's not, but it probably is. Because I think they're, well, maybe that's just so Garcia can take the pin. I don't know. But I kind of like your idea of, I mean, I don't like it, but I kind of see.
It feels like this is the catalyst for the Edge turn, or Copeland turn.
And he'll probably blame the fans. You booed me against Garcia. You cheered. I think they actually did cheer for, one more time or something. Like, or no, you know what? No. Christian got a ton of heat. There was another point here. I can't remember. Oh, you know what it was? It was when Matt Taven later on put Orange Cassidy through a table, and then they chanted one more time. Yeah. But not this time. No, Christian gets good heat. Like it's heel heat. Next we got a great segment, I thought, and I'm sure you liked it too. Samoa Joe comes to the ring for an interview. He's in his suit. My name's Samoa Joe. I stand here proudly as your AEW World Champion. That's like his catchphrase now. Tonight I come with the spirit of apology. I reenacted a ranking system. I thought he was going to apologize for the
spirit of apology is just such a.
I thought he was going to,
say.
If he would have apologized for bringing on the rankings, he'd have been my hero for life. But he said, I did this to ensure that only the very best victims were here to destroy. Everything was going so well when last week Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland battled tooth and nail for 30 minutes to a draw. Fans booed that. He said, somehow I thought the championship committee would kick them to the back of the line, but instead they took a page out of the Texas playbook and made it bigger and dumber.
I howled at that line.
Yeah. We reward mediocrity in this company. At Revolution, I find myself in a 3-way match. A crime has been committed against me, and there must be repercussions. So now you're going to send your 2 brightest stars into the ring against me, and I'm going to hurt them. They may walk in, but they'll limp out. I stand here, AEW World Champion, and there's nothing anyone can do about that. Great promo. So out comes Swerve and Nana. Nana's dancing, and the fans are chanting Swerve's house. And then they get quiet because they actually want to hear what Swerve has to say. And he says, Joe, when we started this whole thing, this wasn't supposed to be personal. As we inch closer to Revolution, the more you run your mouth, it's becoming personal. When you won the AEW title, you said that. And at this point, he stops. And the crowd laughed. I don't know what was going on.
No, somebody in the pause yelled something, and I remember reading what it was, and it popped the crowd, and it broke Swerve.
Gotcha.
And so he had to recover for a moment.
Gotcha. Okay. So it was something off camera.
It wasn't terribly funny, but it was clever type of a thing. I forgot what it was, but I'll see if I can find it again.
Okay, well, it's fine. I was curious of what happened there, but
I like the completionist stuff.
He says the new championship protocol with your reputation and your resume. You also said that hunger is what defines the great. I'm on my way to becoming one of the greatest of all time. No one out hustles me, no one outworks me, and no one outgrinds me. Check my resume and put some respect on it. 15 years in this business, I've been grinding up and down in this industry in the hopes that one day someone looks at Swerve and says, you might go down as one of the best currently. Maybe one day. Well, this year I've proven exactly that, and today is that day. I've gone toe-to-toe with former world champions and toe-to-toe with some of the best legends that AEW has to offer. Same thing, same result. I'm left standing, and these people are left with one phrase. Whose house? Swerve's house. At Revolution, nothing changes except
you're so Caucasian when you say that. I love you for
it. And that will be above my head. Whose house? Swerve's house.
Yeah, no, somebody heckled what he say when he did that and then popped
What
the
he
crowd.
say?
Yeah.
So, good promo from Swerve after the recovery.
I thought it was soft. I thought this promo was soft as hell. It was a little bit too baby-facey for me for what Swerve's been presenting.
I didn't say great.
As.
Okay. I said good.
Okay.
One thing I didn't
you said
like.
Great, but that's okay.
I said good.
Okay.
Oh, I thought I said good. Anyways.
Well, maybe.
One thing I didn't. There was one thing that the wording, the phrasing didn't make sense at one point. He says grinding up and down this industry in the hopes that one day someone looks at Swerve and says, you might go down as one of the best currently. That was just kind of jumbled words. But when he talks about 15 years, it made him seem older than he actually feels like he should be. You know what I mean? Like he feels like he just started a couple of years ago. And I don't know if telling people you've been doing this for 15 years is necessarily the best. But
it's not that. He's coming from it from a place of weakness to me. When he's been strength this whole time, he should be in there, not even kowtowing or bending the knee to Joe, just saying, "I'm going to take your title. Yeah. I'm the baddest man here.
I earned this."
Oh, take a look at my resume and see if I match up for this job, sir. I saw it on LinkedIn. It's like,
and he's like, I've been fighting all through this industry to get people to notice me and give me something.
No, nobody cares. You're the star here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no.
You're not the baby underdog. You're the guy who walked into Nick Wayne's house and made him bleed. You're the guy who broke into Hangman's house and threatened his child who wasn't there. What is this crap? This was soft.
You're the guy that walked down Hangman as he was busting you open.
Yes.
You're
the guy growling at him at Hangman this entire time, and then Hangman comes out.
Yeah, speaking of Hangman, he shows up and
gets the crap boot out of him.
Oh yeah, he's the major heel, and he says, "Hold on. First, I want to set the record straight. After last week's match, I wasn't mad. You're right. So when you're writing your reports, I think he was talking to me.
Yeah, he was talking to us. Yeah.
Don't say I was mad. Last week was horseshit. That sounds like he's mad. He said, I signed a contract for a match to determine a number one contender. The winner for that match became the number one contender, and he couldn't do it. He had 30 minutes and he couldn't do it. And if it were up to me, the match at Revolution, it would be between two men who value and respect that championship and everything it stands for. He's saying to Samoa Joe at this time. But unfortunately, I don't make the matches, and it looks like you've been added to this match. To Swerve, you've been added. I love that. He says, look me in the eyes when I say this. After everything you've done to me, you don't deserve 1 second of my time. You don't deserve for me to give you 5 more minutes because you couldn't get the job done. And you don't deserve to be in this championship match. Now, this was a great heel promo from Hangman, even though the heel thinks he's a babyface. But the fans like hate him. And yes. I mean, he's gone from Bret Hart before reuniting with the Hart Foundation, and now he's like full on delusional, like just completely out to lunch, but thinks everything he says is true, even though none of it is. And it's I like
not a lie if you believe it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not even sure if he believes it, but he's sure doing a good
Doesn't
job.
Matter. I actually kind of liked him in this segment, to be honest.
Yeah,
with you.
Yeah.
More than Swerve, even. But yeah, but then Joe with the wisdom of Solomon.
Joe just stole the show.
Yes.
He tells them to back up. He says, this walking domestic dispute ends tonight. You're not gonna pin him, and you're not gonna pin him. I'm whipping both your asses at Revolution. And he leaves, and the fans chant, Joe, Joe, Joe.
Yes,
and
he stole Swerve's crowd from him. It was amazing to watch. I watched it because I know there was a giant Swerve contingent in that audience. Cameron Hawkins and his boys were in there. I think one of them was the one that heckled him and stuff. Yeah, everybody was all in on Swerve until Joe just came in and goes, I'm going to kick both your asses. Leaves. Boom. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
the greatest champion ever.
I think
my tribal chief.
I think Joe pins Hangman. I think that's what happens in the.
I am fine with that.
Yeah, he's got to keep the belt.
Please keep the belt. He's the best thing in this company.
Although I could listen to Swerve winning and then keeping it until Wembley and then losing it to Will, but I don't.
That'll be a better match. I mean, you can always.
Yeah.
You'd always have one of these TV. Events where Swerve takes the title, especially if there's one in the Northwest before Wembley.
Yeah, you could do that, and then you just a quick title run and drops it to
maybe.
Will. Yeah. Or Will could lose the first one.
Will can afford to lose in Wembley, but he can be presented as a big star.
And then do the Cody thing and go the next year and then win it the next year in Wembley.
No. Then Vince comes into book and he refuses to give it to Will Ospreay.
Yeah.
And Cody comes into AEW and goes, finish the story, Will. Finish your story.
Yeah. We'll get to Cody.
He's the Seth. He's the
We're gonna talk about Cody tonight. He was brought up on the show. So we got so I had my finger ready on the fast forward button because it was the Toni Storm movie. And I thought, okay, this is going through the commercial. No. this aired. And I mean, it was a promo. I mean, that's all it was. It wasn't a movie. So the movie was called Wet Ink. And she says, what does this tattoo remind me of? It reminds me of a girl I felt sorry for. A naive Anita young girl. She had my pity. She was my young girl. I showed her the ways. I put her in Japan. I helped her sign a contract. She suckled on the teat of my talent. And as she's talking, it looks like she's getting her tattoo removed, but I think it was just like altered because it was two little ducks, I think, and now it's one duck, I think. I'm not 100% positive, but she said, somewhere along the way, you forgot who you were. You thought you were the star instead of an extra. You want the old Toni Storm, you'll get that and so much more. So what do you do when you can't change the past? You kill it. And then they showed the tattoo. And so I don't know if I missed something there. Did you catch what was going on?
The faces when it's like suckled at the teeth and they're all looking at each other like, ouch, ooh, that kind of thing. Toni Storm is doing an old time movie person who's trying to get around the Hays Code. Which I enjoy. That was the name of the codes I was trying to think of earlier.
So where they're trying to like do naughty stuff.
Everything's a double entendre with her.
Okay.
Or double entendre if you want to go that route. But yes. I like Deanna's promo afterwards.
Yes.
It's the best thing they did with her since she's coming to this company.
Absolutely. So they go back to Renee, and her and Deanna are like having a hard time like keeping a straight face. And but she asks her, for a reaction. And she said, Toni Storm is what my family would call a yakayon. I think that's what she said. Basically, it's someone who talks too much. Well, Toni, I'm gonna break your arm, bitch. That was it. Yeah.
I stood up and applauded from my couch.
Did you just do that on your own thing?
No. I think the software finds like thumbs up and stuff like that, but I'll do it again.
Oh, if you're watching on video, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, here we go.
There we
thumbs
are.
Up, yay!
Send this to Jeremy Finestone to send out to the channel.
It's not working for
the
me.
first time I did it.
No. Yeah.
Oh, I think it's just my MacBook that does
it. Only works for you. Oh well.
Yes.
Yeah. So
let me try this.
This is fun.
Ooh, well, that does. Oh, here we rained.
What do we got? Do you hear this?
Yes.
Okay. This is like when James and Kevin on their last show. Oh, thoughts to James.
Yes.
And an FU to a certain AEW wrestler that I won't name who has not done their cameo yet.
Oh, okay.
How did I lose this background? I can't. Oh well.
You can also get balloons. I wonder how. Can we? No, stop. All right, let's move on.
I'm trying. I don't know what happened to our background. Oh well. I screwed it up. Someone's gonna have to fix it. I can't. Oh well. Anyways, this is what happens when I play with the effects. So this was good, and it sets up their match that they're having at Revolution. So here's where the limo arrived with Matthew and Nicholas.
Yes.
And Taz was sucking up to him, and Taz tells Toni, you better smarten up or you might lose your job. And they got a new entrance video and a new music theme. Someone said it might be Succession. I watched Succession, but I don't remember it. Oh, here we go. I got our background back. Is it Succession theme? Do you know?
I didn't watch Succession.
Oh, okay. Someone in the chat maybe will tell
I had no interest in Succession.
Oh.
It's one of those shows that everybody says they watch, but only about 1 million people really did.
I definitely watched it, but I probably skipped the credits.
Okay.
I
thought it was just a piano version of their other Young Bucks song, but that's okay.
Oh, it could be, but I think it's meant to sound like Succession, whether
that's
it is
fine.
or not. So we got the match anyways. Young Bucks and Top Flight. So they don't like Justin's intro, so they make him introduce them as Executive Vice Presidents Nicholas and Matthew Jackson. And it's them against Top Flight. They said they were accompanied by Action Andretti, but I don't remember seeing him out there. I don't think he actually was.
No.
They did say he was, though. So the match starts, and the very first thing you hear is the crowd chanting Young Bucks. Young Bucks, Young Bucks, Young Bucks. And I'm like, they didn't get the memo, or they didn't watch Dynamite last week. It's probably that they didn't watch Dynamite last week, to be honest. Not a lot of people did. But they, by the end of this match, they were, they knew the Bucks were heels. And Nicholas went to the announcers right away, scolded him for not respecting them. These guys wrestled the whole match in their suits. They did nothing, absolutely nothing in this match. Top Flight were wrestling. We were talking off air, and I compared it to, what was the one we finally settled on?
We settled on like the Midnight Express fighting like a Sam Houston and another like Italian Stallion or something like that.
Yeah, or if you want to go WWF, it'd be like Demolition
versus the Young Stallions.
Yeah. So it was basically like the heels that do very little, and they show ass and they cheat. And so I love the Midnight Express parallel in that one, because that's what they would do, and they would also have their manager at ringside.
I was thinking about this. I thought this match might have been a little bit wrong, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Top Flight should have gotten a lot closer to beating the Young Bucks. and then the Bucks get frustrated and then do the cheap shot and then pin them.
Well, I think
because top flight's ranked. So what they should have done is they should have made that crowd believe as much as he could, and they should have plotted this match around making you believe that Top Flight was going to win this match.
The rankings are a joke.
No, I get that, but if we're going to do them and we're going to put them in play here, and the whole reason the Bucks then declared themselves the number one contenders is that they beat a ranked team. Then let's go all the way with it. Let's put the heat on the Bucks as having an undeserved win against a ranked team, and then they insert themselves as number one contenders to the tag team titles.
I think by the end of it, that's actually what we got.
But I never believed Top Flight was going to win this match.
No, nobody did. But
you know what I mean. They didn't have the offense to do it. It was a Top Flight match.
If you're watching on video, I'm going to put this up here in a second, but this is going to really work what happened last time I tried to do this. Here we go. Overlay. There we go. AEW rankings. Right. Here we go with the rankings, just so everyone knows what we're talking about. And so for the tag team rankings, Sting and Darby, number one contenders, Ricky and Big Bill. Number 2, Claudio and Jon Moxley. Number 3, Top Flight. Number 4, Private Party, who just beat Top Flight twice. And FTR is number 5, entering the rankings. If you're watching a video, you can see some of the other rankings here. We got number one contenders, Swerve and Hangman, even though Swerve was number 1, drew with Hangman, and somehow that makes Hangman the number 1 contender. These rankings are a joke. The Hardys and Mark Briscoe are ranked as in the trios division. I'm not sure they've had a match. Dark Order is ranked number 5. I'm pretty sure they haven't. But anyways, I think like the idea was that they got an undeserved win and they're going to take the Top Flight spot in the rankings, and I'm sure that's what's going to happen. So they got a number of near falls, and then eventually, what happened was Nick. Darius took a tag, DDT'd Matt for 2. Nick broke it up. Darius hit a Spanish Fly for 2. Nick dropped Darius on the. Well, they called it Darius on the outside, but it was actually Dante. Matt got his foot on the ropes to do a pin. Rick Knox caught him. So as Matt is arguing with Nick is arguing with Rick Knox. Matt low blows Darius, just brutalized him with a shot to the nuts, and then he walked over, like power walked, and tagged in Nick. Nick comes in. They do the EVP trigger, and they get the win. And that was and this is new, your Intuit TurboTax move of the night. They're getting paid. As I'm sure that was well after your heart. So the match was the match. I mean, it was not a Young Bucks match. It was kind of a bad match, but it was meant to be. I mean, not bad, but it wasn't meant to be a Young Bucks match. It was meant to be a story match, and it was.
Well, it was meant to be a showcase for Top Flight, and it wasn't. Really.
Okay, if you want to say that, yeah.
I don't think they're the ones taking the loss. You need to at least give them something on the way out. Because
theoretically, you're right, but I don't think that was the plan.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
See, you could have gotten a lot more heat on them as opposed to, say, the Shivani segment. But okay, fine, we'll go with it.
Yeah, I mean, if this was a better team, like, if they had a babyface team with some credibility, which they don't.
No, they don't.
No, I mean FTR, but you're not going to have FTR do this. Like that would kill them. That's the problem, right? Like this is going to kill any team, so you might as well get a team that's already dead.
Dark Order.
Dark Order would have worked, and honestly, for storyline, it would have worked too. And you could have had that awesome thing where like John Silver and Alex Reynolds do that finisher that always pops the crowd, and that would have got a great near fall, and they
go through that entire segment and then just a field goal kick right into Alex Reynolds.
Well, and they were ranked, and then I think they lost they lost a non-title match to Big Bill and Ricky Starks, and they fell right out of the rankings. So they went from number 2 to out of the rankings by losing to the champions. That doesn't quite seem fair, but anyways, so this sets up an interview, and Tony Schiavone's in the ring. Crowd booed them. Matt says, "We're undefeated this year, Nicholas, and I think we are the unbeatable tag team in AEW, and I have reason to believe that after beating a tag team, the quality of those guys, great team. And they clap, and he says, it's safe to assume we're the number one contenders. But be that, or the Tony says, be that as it may, Sting is not here. And then they've got a graphic that says they're the number one contenders. And Tony says he's not here because of the despicable, heinous act. And then Matthew interrupts him, and Nicholas gets real mad. And he said, this is breach of contract. You're publicly disparaging the company's EVPs. This is unprofessional in Bush League, and you know it. That's $1,000 fine. And then Tony's all mad. And he's like, do you have a problem with that? You heard me. And then he shoulder shoved him, knocked him to the ground. Matthew says, I'm sorry, Tony. My brother's a bit of a hothead. And he says, we love you. And he says, but don't let it happen again. And then they slowly start to pick him up, but they've got him in position for the EVP trigger. And the crowd is gasping. Oh, no, they're not going to do this to Tony. But then they're setting up to get him out. And then out comes Darby. And he's got Sting's bat. And the Bucks bailed. And then he's going to do his promo. But before I recap his promo, you got anything to say about the Bucks promo? Or should I just keep going?
I liked the Bucks part in this. I have no problem with attacking an announcer for heat either, but I like that it was stopped. But yes, get to this promo.
All right. I love this promo.
What?
For the most part. Okay.
Part. Okay. We'll talk about it then.
Okay. So he says, shut the music. Young Bucks. Here's a reminder to you guys. What was your original mission statement of AEW? You were going to change the world. You know, when I was homeless, I begged you guys for a job, but I had to sit by and watch your shit friends get hired. All your North California boys. He said, but thank God there is an EVP with a sense of brains. And I'm not talking about Kenny Omega. And here's where the crowd chanted Cody, which is who he was talking about.
I misheard that. I thought he said it was Kenny Omega, but never mind.
No,
go ahead.
He said it. I'm not talking about Kenny Omega.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then he says, you know, you did an interview last year why you re-signed to AEW. What did you say? You said you resigned because the travel schedule is light and the money is good. It's no longer about changing the world. I thought this was all elite wrestling. It's all friendship wrestling. The very first episode of Dynamite, I wasn't on it. You know who was? Brandon Cutler. And then they're looking at each other. Hey, you know, he's a good wrestler. And he's like, I don't know what kind of tussles you guys got into at homeschool, but you want to be in Sting's final match? I don't think you guys understand what you got yourselves into. A man who has nothing left to lose. Well, he's got the tag belts. You Young Bucks, Darby Allin and Sting, the AEW Tag Team Championship. And then Matt's like, you want it? We can pull some strings. And then Darby says, it's showtime. And then Excalibur said the match is made. You know what? As I recap it, maybe I didn't like it as much as I thought I did. Because there was a lot of holes in this promo.
I didn't like the line about hiring your California friends. Now, we know about that stuff. But it's office politics. It's Darby going into the office politics.
Well, that's wrestling. To be fair, that's their gimmick.
It's their gimmick, but it's death for me.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, I mean, you didn't like me, and somebody else. It's like, okay,
this is the
you hired your California friends, and it's like, okay, fine. They hired Cutler and they hired SCU. They hired SCU and Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy was considered part of the California connection, and Luchasaurus and all them.
Yeah,
that rubbed me the wrong way. It really did, and I like the I like the premise that, hey, money has changed you guys from the original thing.
Yeah.
That's a strong premise. That's all you need.
I don't know why he brought up the first episode of Dynamite and Brandon Cutler. Like, what does that have to do with anything?
Because Cutler's part of this crew.
He is, but it was 5 years ago.
Yeah, but he's also playing it a little bit on Twitter. That's the thing.
He's mad that 5 years ago he didn't get to be on the first episode of Dynamite?
Yes.
Like, okay. I mean,
I don't know why, but he is.
Yeah. I remember they booked a match. I think it was on one of the shows before the first episode of Dynamite, and it was Darby Allin against Cody Rhodes. And I remember at the time, why the hell is Cody Rhodes wrestling Darby Allin? Like, because I had no idea who Darby Allin was. And I'm like, why are they doing this? And then, they ended up like I think they went to a 20-minute draw, and it was like, oh shit, Darby's a guy I got to keep an eye on now. And so like that's what I remember, but I don't remember the first episode of Dynamite. And I'm not sure why they needed to remind me, but yeah, I guess you're right.
Now, how should the Bucks respond to this? Because I was thinking about that. I'm thinking if we're going heavy into the their EVP thing, it should be very. It's a cosmetic business, kid, and look at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I want it out of it being plausible.
If there was still a BTE, you'd be seeing some skits where they'd be writing themselves to win the match.
Yes.
You know,
which I wouldn't like.
No. And they can't do that on TV.
No.
Well, I mean, they could, but they better not.
But Cutler's eventually going to get introduced as a character.
But here's the thing, though.
That's my theory because, well, let me explain also because I don't think you've seen the joke. Is he's acting as kind of a press liaison on Twitter.
Oh no, I saw the thing where he did a tweet about how sources say that the locker room is not happy with Eddie Kingston and Adam Copeland.
Yes.
Among other things.
Yes.
Okay, so the one thing, I'll go back to this again. The rankings. This whole thing did not need the rankings.
No.
Like the whole build here was the Bucks beating up Sting and Darby, and now Sting and Darby, well, they already did the match. Like they basically announced the match like 4 weeks ago.
But in fact, they didn't need the match to be number one contenders. They should have just declared themselves number one contenders.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, they kind of did.
Well, they did, but at the same time, it's like, well, we beat a top 5 team.
Yeah, and now
they could have just stepped in line and said, "We're using our executive authority." Blah blah blah.
I believe I'll just look at this rankings again. I believe the only other team on here that's undefeated is Mox and Claudio. Oh no, Private Party's also 2-0, and they're ranked behind Top Flight. I don't think FTR's wrestled any tag team matches this year.
Well, the voters need to go into the room and re-vote for the next week.
Yeah. I love how like Moxley's on 2 separate rankings and FTR is on 2 separate rankings. And it's like, where is everybody else in this? They have 150 people under contract. Where are all these other people? They're in catering, I guess.
Yeah.
Roderick Strong somehow dropped out of the rankings, even though he didn't wrestle at all. And the guy that took his place,
he's the Florida State of contenders.
Yeah. Well, Takeshita did get a win over Jericho so I can see why he's in. But yeah, I had enough of these rankings. But yeah, this was.
I want transparency from the voters. I want to know who's voting, and I want to see their ballots.
Yes, yeah, I don't want that to be Joe's promo next week. So at this point, there was a half hour left in the show, and we still had a women's match and a death match to go. And not just that, we had some
and a women's match that was death to go. Yes, okay.
But before that, we got Remarkable Renee with the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. And I'm not exactly sure why they needed to. Well, I guess they did this promo to set up a 12-man on Rampage. Austin says, "Welcome to the Bang Bang Scissor Gang Lounge." Bowens gave Renee a Valentine's rose, and Austin seemed taken aback by that because he thought he was gay. Jay White says, "Things are running smoothly, and we have new merch," and they show off their merch, but we've yet to test our cohesiveness. And then Billy says, "How about this Friday?" And then before he can finish his sentence, Austin says, "How about this Friday? We have a 12-man match on Rampage." And everyone ignores him. And then Billy says the exact same thing. And then everyone reacts to that. And Billy says, "I've been doing this a lot longer than you, kid. Don't worry about it." And then Bowen says it's a fantastic idea because everyone loves the Acclaim. Bang, bang. We got 2 words for you. Guns up. Taz said what I was thinking. They're all annoying. And that was that. 2 minutes of TV time to build up a 12-man match on Rampage that'll probably be shorter than the ring entrances.
Pretty much.
Yeah, depending on. Oh, never mind. I think you knew what I was talking about there.
Yes.
Willow Nightingale and Skye Blue. I should just say the never mind to this. Actually, no. You know what? I do have some good things to say about this match. So Willow had Stokely with her. Taz was arguing with Stokely on ringside because I think they were both wearing orange shirts, but Taz insisted that his wasn't orange because he owns orange, and Stokely's really mad about that. Fans were super into Willow. They pointed out Skye's outfit, and then I had a good look at it. I'm almost positive Skye Blue is wearing Bunny's old outfit. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure she'd fit in it, but it definitely looked exactly the same.
The number 4 ranked Skye Blue, by the way.
Yeah, and Willow's not ranked, although she probably will be now.
Yes.
Yeah, probably that's the whole reason this match happened, actually.
And they didn't even mention it, I don't think.
No, and Chris Statlander's not ranked either, and I'm almost positive the match they're actually building to is Julia Hart against Willow against Statlander in a triple threat. But because we need more trios matches on this show. So yeah, so Skye basically the whole Willow just beat the crap out of her the whole match. Just hitting her with pounces, and she's like doing the pillars to post thing, like all 4 posts, but then Skye rolls out of the ring before she can get to the 4th one. Skye was just basically like just your classic heel that gets no offense, and then at the end she hits a thrust kick. She hits her code red, and she's gonna get the pin, but then Stokely
too for her,
yeah, and then Stokely jumps up on the ring apron, distracts the ref, and then that allowed Willow to do a hip. Or sorry, you know what? I broke up this match.
It was a gut wrench into the power bomb. It looked terrible to me.
Yeah, gut wrench into the power bomb, and she gets the win. Yeah. So she takes 95% of the match. Skye hit her one move, got the pin. That would have been a pin, but Stokely, who is
Skye Blue, the heel who's trying to win clean and trying to get the ref to pay attention to her.
She got screwed, and Willow, the massive babyface, takes advantage of the manager interference to get the win.
Do I got that right? Stokely a fist pump afterwards, yes.
Yeah, and Stokely doesn't like her. Did I point that out? He's disgusted by her. Every time she tries to hug him, he doesn't like it because he wants Statlander.
Yes.
And he's only putting up with Willow because she's Statlander's friend. This whole thing makes no sense, and it's going to end up with Willow churning on Stat and being with Stokely.
Also, which makes no sense. Yeah.
No. But yeah, this was out there, and I'm not very happy with Skye Blue right now. But it's got nothing to do with this match.
No.
They did announce Rampage, Matt Hardy against Sammy Guevara, and wouldn't be a weekend AEW show without Queen Aminata wrestling Anna Jay
in a tournament. No, Anna Jay.
No, the tournament.
She's on ROH tomorrow.
Yeah. She's all over the place.
I'm not here for Aminata versus Anna Jay.
She might get a win there. Aminata might win.
Yeah. She might beat the crap out of Anna Jay. That might be fun to watch.
Next week's Dynamite.
Anna Jay's game to take a few chops. She's done it before.
Oh yeah. Next week's Dynamite, they announced this during this match. Mox and Claudio against FTR. I thought they were building that for the pay-per-view, but apparently not. It's going to be on Dynamite next week. And then this match, and the announcers reacted to it the same way as I have. Did you see this?
No. Well, I did.
Six-man tag.
Paying attention. Go ahead.
6-man tag. Okay. Okay. Here's the 6-man tag. Hook is teaming with RVD. And guess who their partner is?
Danhausen?
Nope.
Who?
I'll give you 3 guesses.
Oh, Eddie Kingston?
Nope.
Is it somebody big or somebody that shouldn't be teaming with Hook?
Someone big that shouldn't be teaming with Hook and RVD.
Okay. Jeez. Who are champions? Well, maybe not even champions, but upper card people. It's not Jericho, is it?
I can't believe you didn't see it. I'm so happy.
Who is it?
One more guess.
No. Just give it to me. I'm tired of guessing.
Hangman Page.
What?
Yep. Now guess who their opponents are.
A broomstick.
No.
The popcorn guy.
No. I'll give you a hint. The first one is Samoa Joe.
Wait, is it Samoa Joe and like Swerve and Brian Cage?
Yes, that's the 3.
What?
Samoa Joe is teaming with Swerve Strickland and Brian Cage, and he's wrestling. Yes.
No.
He's wrestling. Yes.
That makes no damn sense.
Hook, Rob Van Dam, and Hangman Page. Yes. I'm like, and the announcers were like,
Tony's got his like simulator going. He's just ring.
I mean, it's the old, like WWE, the opponents teaming with each other, but you've got
they coexist.
Okay, so you've got one team with 2 baby faces and a heel, right? Hook, RVD, and Page.
Yes.
And then the other team is
2 heels and a baby face.
Which one's a baby face? Swerve.
Swerve.
Okay, yeah, but then Joe is actually a babyface too. Because I mean, in
Joe's
that
heel.
segment, he was the biggest babyface. Like,
No,
it's
he
just
got the
so
biggest
weird.
reaction. He's still all heel.
I assume what's going to end up happening is Hangman's going to walk out on his team.
And Swerve's going to walk out on his team probably too, or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Or Joe will.
They fight to the back, and then
yeah, that could happen. And then
look, if Swerve is part of Mogul Industry, I mean, if Brian Cage is part of Mogul Industries, why don't they hatch a plan to then double team Joe to weaken him?
Well, yeah, and then you've got Hook. I guess Hook and RVD kind of make sense because they've teamed before, and Hook and Joe on opposite sides. That makes sense. But this is so weird.
It's so dumb, is what it is.
Yeah. They just put this on a graphic, like during the Willow Skye match. So that's why you missed it.
Yeah.
It was just bizarre.
I was also doing rehab exercises during picture and stuff like that. So yeah.
All right. Speaking of weird, the main event. So this match came up. I mean, this was announced on, I think it was Rampage. No, I don't know.
It would have had to have been Rampage.
Well, they announced the match, but they didn't announce the stipulation at first.
Right.
So the match is Orange Cassidy against Matt Taven. And I think it's for the international title. Now, this makes no sense because Roderick Strong has a title match lined up for the pay-per-view. So if Matt Taven had won, that means it's Matt Taven against Roderick Strong at the pay-per-view, I guess. Although, I mean, he wasn't going to win.
It should have been.
Yeah. But they announced later in the week that this match would also be a Texas death match because, I mean, they've had such a...
Because they heckled Chuck, in medical or something.
No, they've had these guys have had a years-long rivalry that, there's no way they could settle it other than a Texas death match. So Justin Roberts, and I heard this because I always watch Orange Cassidy's entrance video because I love that song. And I heard the entrance or the intros, and Justin Roberts said, the only way to win is by KO or submission. He made that very clear. So the match starts, and there's only 9 minutes left in the show when this started. So I knew this was going to be a sprint. And Taven comes out. He's by himself. And Excalibur points out, oh, no Mike Bennett, no Adam Cole, no Roderick Strong, no Wardlow. We know they're here. And they're probably lurking somewhere, he says. So they also pointed out that Taven has 9 straight wins. I watch everything. I don't remember any of these wins.
These have to all be on Rampage or Collision.
I mean, I guess maybe tag matches and 6-man.
Or ROH. Are they counting ROH wins?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, they win on ROH and they do win on Rampage. But they started off and it was just a wrestling match, and the announcers even kind of pointed that out.
Well, hold on. I want to delve into this a little bit because all the characterization of Matt Taven on AEW television on the main show has been guy holding a giraffe.
Yes. But he's a contender apparently, and he's got 9 straight wins. And yet he's not ranked.
Continue.
Anywhere.
I'm going to mute myself while I deeply sigh.
So anyways, the announcers so right away early in this match, Taven threw Orange Cassidy to the outside. And he's on the floor, and the refs and Taven's yelling at the ref, count him. So the ref starts counting, and I'm like, what is he counting for? The match can only end by KO or submission. I mean, there are other Texas death match rules where it's like a 10 count. I think there's ones where it's a 30 count, ones where you knock them out, and then there's a 10 count after the knockout. But in this case, it seemed like it was the last man standing match is what it was, with a 10 count instead of a 30 count. And so anyways, fans start chanting, we want tables. I mean, that's fair. It's a Texas death match. There's one spot where Orange Cassidy jumped into the crowd when Taven tried to toss him into the barricade, and then ended up fighting through the crowd. They go through the break, they come back, and this is where Taven put Orange Cassidy through a table with an elbow, and the crowd chanted one more time. So he set him up again, and he suplexed him through it. And then the ref was counting him again, and he's apparently got to get up for a 10 count. Somewhere in here, Orange Cassidy is just bleeding a gusher. And Tony gets another table, or Taven gets another table. He set it up against the announce desk. They did a couple spots teasing going to this table. And then Matt Taven does this running dive, and he jumps at Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy gets out of the way.
This was amazing.
head first into this table, and he hits the announce desk as well. I don't know how this guy's still walking, but he is. Now he's bloodied up, and he was up pretty quickly. You know, they did the thing. Tony's screaming, "My God!" And there's no monitors. They took everything out. Fans are chanting, "This is awesome." So then Orange Cassidy goes under the ring, and he finds a box of chocolates, and it's from Chuck E. T. And of course, because it's Valentine's Day. And the announcers point out that Chuck E. T is not there. So Chuck E. T somehow knew about this match and got a box of chocolates to the ring, except it's not a box of chocolates, of course.
Or DHL Express will do that kind of thing. I've seen the movie 7.
Will they do it with a box of tacks? Oh, yeah, I guess they would. In 7, they sent the head.
Yeah, they sent who is it? Gwyneth Paltrow's head. So yeah.
Yeah, so it's not chocolates. It's it's tacks. And he dumps the tacks out, and they do a bunch of spots into the tacks. And Orange Cassidy's bleeding everywhere. Fans are chanting, AEW, holy shit, all that stuff. So he goes under the ring. He gets a chain. Then he finds a bigger box. And from out of nowhere, Mike Bennett shows up, and he grabs a box, and he smashed it over Orange Cassidy's head. Apparently, it was a cinder block because this thing shatters into a
I think it was made out of a Jeff Jarrett guitar.
Yeah, because it just disintegrated. So he slid him into the ring. So this is where I point out, like, Matt Taven's there. Like, why didn't he just come out at the beginning of the match? Like, I don't know. There's no DQ.
It's no DQ.
Yeah. So Bennett tossed Taven in some chairs, and then out comes Trent, and he's got a box of roses. So it's your standard, like holiday themed weapons match. And he throws the roses away, and
go ahead.
He's got a pipe in it. So he jumps in the ring with his pipe, Taven knocked him out with a chair. Then he gave him a cutter onto the chair. Orange Cassidy hit Taven with an arm punch. Hit a breach break on the chair. Then Taven gets up and he starts ripping Orange Cassidy's pockets off his pants. I don't know why nobody's ever tried that before. But then Orange Cassidy gave him an orange punch with a chain. And as the ref's counting, Roddy Strong shows up and he tried to go after Orange Cassidy. I don't know why he just didn't take the ref out.
Right.
And that's actually what I thought he was going to do. But Trent took the bullet for Orange, and Orange Cassidy wins. And that was it. And then Excalibur called it a Pyrrhic victory. Not exactly sure why. It was pretty clean. But
Trent comes down with the pipe. He gets and then just takes a spear to the face.
Yeah, like, what was the point of that pipe? Because he swung the pipe.
This is all to set up a Trent heel turn. You know that, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it seemed like it.
Because Tony's on, we should all have a friend like Trent. Yeah, a guy who's stupid enough to get involved in a Texas death match and get killed for me. Yes.
He didn't even do anything with that damn pipe.
No, well, he did the one shot with the chair.
Well, he swung with the pipe, and then someone blocked it with a chair, and then he got waffled. Yeah.
Oh, he got waffled. Even Taz goes, "That's a bad one."
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is all the story of how Trent's going to leave the best friends. That's what this is, and it just makes no sense with the Undisputed Kingdom supposedly being a top heel group, even though they aren't. Where was Wardlow during this? Or Paige to direct traffic?
Yeah, Wardlow should have been there.
Or not Paige, Cole.
Cole, yeah.
All
Cole
Adams look alike to me. Yeah.
This was something else, but it was
you know what? I'm watching it halfway through and I'm going, it's fine. But it feels like we were talking latter stage ECW. This is latter stage ECW.
Yeah.
We're just gonna do a plunder match with two guys that aren't real. I mean, who kind of have a feud, but we haven't really built in. They haven't really cut promos on each other, and there's no drama to it. It's just we're gonna watch them hit each other with crap for a while. That's what it felt like to me.
You know what match I saw this week, and I thought of you when I was watching it. I don't know if you'd like it
Barbarian versus Shinya Hashimoto?
No. This was like a current match. Okay. It was in New Japan, and it was, but I don't think you'd like it as much as I did because I don't think you follow New Japan as closely as I do.
I don't.
But it was the cage match between the Bullet Club.
I've heard about this. The
United Empire.
United Empire versus and it just it became. Even I guess Alvarez will say it was way too long for a war game.
Well, they went an hour and 20 minutes.
Good God.
Yeah, but it was a war games match. And it was, I mean, it had the intensity of the most intense, hated war games matches you've ever seen.
I may need to watch this then because these guys
all hate each other. And there's not a second during this match that you didn't think that every single member on one team wanted to literally kill every
All right,
every
I'm
single
down.
member
I'm
on the
down
other
with
team.
this then. I'm gonna watch it. Okay.
Yeah, it's long. But
that's fine. I'll take an hour.
I thought it was better than the Danielson Zack Sabre Jr. match that everyone's raving about, personally. Now, I would say it's not for everyone, but I loved it.
But for a War Games match, I want that kind of intensity. I really do. It's one of those.
Corey pointed out that Paige picked RVD as Swerve's opponent a few weeks back. Oh, that's right. And they also did that thing. Remember where Paige was threatening Stokely, and he said he was going to steal his weed and give it to RVD?
Yes.
Or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is a history there, I guess.
There is, but it still doesn't make any sense for Swerve to team with Joe.
Yeah, but it was worth it just for your reaction when I pointed it out.
Baffling.
Might have to clip that one for the YouTube channel. Well, this whole show's on YouTube, but they wanted some clips
for the shorties.
Yeah, for the short.
Do it for the shorties.
Yeah, the teaser. It's a little taste.
I want my first 2 thumbs up with the Deanna thing, where I realize I can do fireworks too. I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have a MacBook like me, MacBook Pro.
No. I just have I'm not going to screw around with the effects again.
No.
Yeah. So I think that's it. That's a show.
Yep. That sounds like it.
Uh-oh. Get
what?
your
and this week on the Wrestling Wrap Up, we're going to be
this is not working. Anyways, I was going to play some more.
That sounded like Bob Caudle to me.
Did it?
This week on the Wrestling Wrap Up.
Okay, get your plugs in.
Really? All right, fine. You can follow me.
No, I shut it off.
Okay, thank you. Follow me at Crap Game 13. Arcane references, telling you to get paid, all that other stuff. I do a show called Shake Them Ropes over on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Myself and Chris Novembrino, who is totally not in the wrestling bubble, review the week in United States wrestling of some kind or another. This week, something's going to go wrong in WWE. We'll figure it out when we get there. NXT was kind of dreadful to watch. And we'll talk a little AEW just to tick off people who love Voices of Wrestling. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. That'll drop sometimes Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, it wasn't the best show on Tuesday. I do this show. My In the Clinch show is on a bit of a hiatus right now. Can't really get into the reasons why, but stay tuned. Hopefully we'll be back at some point. And best wishes out to James.
Yes.
He's dealing with some health stuff. And so the Boom is also on hiatus right now. So we might get Kevin on this show at some point.
I have offered to let Kevin do some reps in my stead if he chooses to.
Yeah. So because we want to hear what Kevin has to say, but Kevin is also enjoying the break because he puts a lot of work into these shows. When I've co-hosted with him, like he sends notes.
Oh yeah, no, he has everything. I'm freeballing it here like a moron.
And I take a lot of notes too. What did I get this week?
You have plenty of notes, yeah.
2,900 words. Not quite a Dave Meltzer newsletter, but that's a lot of words. So you can check that out. And maybe I'll do a broken news with Garrett Gonzalez if anything goes down. We've done a couple of them over the last couple of weeks. People seem to like them. A lot of people watch them. So we'll do that whenever some big news breaks. But until then, and if I don't see you till next week, everybody, Jeff and I will be back. And we'll be here and counting on your company. So don't you dare miss it. In fact, you be sure of it.
Thumbs up.
Ta-da. Later.